Hello, everyone watching. This is Abhishek. We are just doing a practice stream for our upcoming league, which is aptly titled Ode to GT Sport, because that game has served us for quite a few years. And, with Gran Turismo 7 approaching, we thought fit, let's do this. Let's give this game a big send off, even through all of the frustrations and all of the penalty systems and all the bugs and glitches that we had to endure. I think everybody in the group still loves this game. So right now we're doing a quick practice session, a little bit of qualifying, so these guys can just you know get a feel for the track, see how the car drives. I also have the ancient pleb with me, Aditya Raghav. Aditya, say hi to everyone.
Yeah, hey guys, it's finally me on the commentary team. So really excited to see how this season is going to get kicked off, and let's see how the race goes. I think this time it's going to be quite exciting with all the other guys, especially some of them who have improved so much, right? Like Shaz and Vedant, and even Manu, right? His name is Manu Puri. Yeah. So it's going to be a very like an intense race as far as I know. So yeah, really excited to be part of this as the comment from the comment team.
Absolutely. So a lot of these guys have like when we first started, I don't think we had where I don't really think we had this kind of gap between all the top drivers.
Yeah,
And yeah, so I'm looking at the
even
stream as well.
uh-huh.
Technically, I think it looks like we might have some issues in terms of the frame rates. I'm just going to see if I can get that fixed as quickly as possible.
Okay, yeah, yeah. I'm just looking at the stream, and yeah, there is some
Yeah, there is some
location right now.
choppiness. Yeah. So I think it's coming from OBS itself. So maybe I need to change something, but I'm not really sure exactly what I'm supposed to change. Okay. We recommend that you stream. Okay, so they want us to have a different bit rate. So let's stop this one and let's try it again.
Yeah, it has. Okay.
Yeah, it'll stabilize, I think.
Yeah, yeah.
It's
Do you
still
have to restart
stuttering a
it
little bit,
for it
right?
to? Yeah. Okay, I think it's kind. It's it's a bit smooth here and there, but then
Yeah, it looks like a bitrate issue,
it
so I'm just
starts
gonna
to. Yeah.
give me a sec. This should be better, I think.
Yeah, it is. Yeah.
Yeah, I think it was the bitrate issue that was causing the problem.
Okay.
Okay, so I'm gonna enable the audio for the both of us.
Okay.
Hopefully, they'll be able to hear us as well. I think they can hear us. Okay, yeah, so we can hear ourselves. Um, okay, this is fine. I'm gonna send this link in
It's
the
fine.
group as well.
Yeah.
Yeah. some places, but I think other than that is fine. It's running
It
smoothly.
looks smooth. Yeah, it
Yeah,
looks smooth on my end. Yeah.
I think it's more about just figuring out whether I'm looking at my end as well on the laptop and everything, so it looks fine. Okay,
Yeah, it looks fine.
let's look at Super Vedu. Go on board him. So at least for like
Yeah,
smaller
I am on board.
lobbies, yeah. So for like smaller lobbies, you are able to actually go into the cockpit view. For lobbies, I think
Oh, is it?
where it's yeah, for when there are like more players, sometimes it doesn't let you go into the cockpit view when you're spectating.
Oh, I didn't know that actually. I didn't know it depended on the number of players in the lobby. I thought it was just maybe just online, you just can't go into a cockpit views while spectating.
Sometimes, yeah, sometimes it does, sometimes it doesn't.
Oh, okay.
And there are like too many, like a lot of different shortcuts. Like on the wheel, if you press the
Mm-hmm.
triangle, it zooms in aggressively. But
Is it?
yeah, on the
Okay.
controller, there is no shortcut like that. If you have like a keyboard connected, there are a ton of other shortcuts as well
Okay.
that you can use, but
I okay.
I have no idea how to enable all of them. Okay, Sheikh says audio is clear. He says Pleb's voice is very low. Okay, let's see.
Is it? Okay.
All right,
Let's do a mic
guys,
check.
talk to us about Pleb's audio. How is it now?
Yeah, guys, let me know if it is too low or if it's fine. I am on board Tigis one right now. So watching his lap.
So right
Everybody
now
seems to be quite
we're
close.
spectating Pagal Raja, and yeah, they're quite close. Like it's just what 400ths of a second between Pagal Raja and Super
Yeah.
Vedu, and like a tenth
So it
between
should
Super
be,
Vedu and Tegiswan.
and that's a good lap actually by Pagal Raja because he's on the Porsche compared to the GTR. So
Yeah, I was trying
I think
to
the
like
guys have improved a lot.
yesterday's race. It got so difficult for me with my wheel. Now it
Hmm.
says now it's a bit louder than Abby's. Okay, okay, I get it. I get it.
Okay. Mhm.
Okay, I think this should fix it. Shake with an H. Let us know.
Yeah, mic check again. So let us know if my volume is fine.
Also tell us how's the video quality. Like we're streaming at 1080. Let us know if it looks like 1080 or if YouTube is compressing it too much. I tried a higher bitrate. Like YouTube wants it to be around like 5 megabits per second. I was doing like 50 to 60 megabits per second, but YouTube didn't like that. So I don't know who's to blame.
Okay. I think Shaz. I think now the audio must be fine. He says it sounds similar.
Okay. Now both of your audio is almost the same level. Yeah, we're not gonna like wave match the audio. Sometimes one is going to be louder, sometimes the other one is going to be
Yeah,
louder.
bit
So
softer.
the overall feel of it, like you're getting the game audio as well, and you should be able to hear us also. That's the
Yeah,
key
as
bit.
long I guess as long as it's not too low, right? I think it should be fine.
Yeah. So it's more about just getting an average audio from everything.
Okay.
Everybody else who's listening, give us a hi in the comments. We want to see.
I think now the video is fine. Yeah,
Yeah, the video
it looks
is
clear. Yeah.
perfectly fine. I think the bitrate. I think YouTube didn't like the
Was the
higher
only
bitrate,
issue.
so yeah, that's the only issue. So even like the best part is my CPU usage is at like 14% on battery.
Oh,
So
okay.
and it shows I can still go for another 5 hours doing this. So I'm
God
set.
damn, then you should keep a 5 hour race just to test out your laptop.
Oh yeah, so I was talking about my wheel. So the issue with it
Ah.
is, I think it's getting hot when I'm racing, and
Oh, okay.
it like the force feedback just cuts off from time to time.
Wait, yours
And
is the G29, right? Or is it the
no, it's
GTM?
T150,
Oh, okay.
and the biggest issue that I'm facing is it's getting hot, and sometimes I
Mhm.
lose force feedback like momentarily. So yesterday,
Oh, okay.
I felt like I was like almost there at your pace, like for the first couple of laps, and then it started to
Okay.
heat up, and then I started to make mistakes, especially
Yeah, I
with like
noticed like
faster
you dropped
corners.
off a bit.
Yeah, so I'm trying to see if I can get it fixed. Teggy had a
Okay.
brilliant idea to just mount a fan on the side of it, like a CPU fan.
Okay. Okay.
So I'll try to do that because I tried doing a couple of MRL, like the long MRL races, and
Okay.
like I think it was Sunday or Monday. I was running in
Hmm.
Spain, and
Okay.
I was running second, and
Okay.
with just before the chicane,
Okay.
my the wheel just turned off,
Okay. Okay.
and I just went straight into the barriers. Now the wheel won't turn on, so I had to
Uh,
like try to take control with my gamepad. So I finished, I think
so
fifth or sixth.
okay. So you'll have to what? You'll have to wait till it cools down and then you have to pull it up.
Yeah, so you have to wait for like 5-10 minutes and then turn it on.
Okay.
That's a
Is it
huge
like
pain.
uh? So do you use like high force feedback settings or is it a bit low?
So I have five on both, like right in the middle.
Okay. I think that is fine. Yeah, I don't know why it's overheating because I think I am on 3 and 3 on both.
Okay,
So I haven't had any such issues, but I'm on a different page. So
maybe. So I'm thinking of
yeah.
just mounting that fan and see
Hmm.
how that goes. So Super Vedu does a
Okay.
177. That's a good time.
7. Yeah.
And Pagal Raja
This is
is
very
like
close to Pagal Raja.
600ths of a second behind him. So
Yeah.
I think what people don't realize is that both of these groups are very
Hmm.
evenly matched in
Even.
terms of the group classification. So it's going to be
Hmm.
very, very close in all of the
Close.
races
Yeah.
because that for every race, I think the tire wear and the fuel wear has been kept at such a level that it allows for two types of strategies, and it's going to be very close
Okay.
at the end for both of them. So either
Okay.
so if you want to go for like a no stop strategy or a less number of pit stops, you have to make sure that you don't make mistakes. The moment you start making
Mistakes.
mistakes is the moment it just all falls apart.
I know. Yeah. One mistake and yeah.
Like mistakes in general, right? So if you make mistakes, it
Hmm.
just goes away from you. You can't do anything about it.
Oh, I think now Tegison
Okay.
has taken P1 at the last minute,
Oh
like
my god,
last
it's
second.
just
It
two
was quite close.
hundredths of a second between Tegi and Pagal. Wow.
Yeah.
So Super Vedu drops down to
107.6 is a
third.
good lap.
Uh, Gilan says maybe go on board and commentate Brundle style. Yeah, maybe we'll do that. We'll do that in the race. Let's see how that works out. But we can go on board. It's not like we cannot.
Yeah, that would
Otherwise, like
actually. Yeah.
yeah, because the thing is, you miss out on a lot of different stuff when you go on board. I think GT Sport has like the most beautiful
I think
replay system and spectator system of any game that I can think of. Like the
I think if I
camera
remember
angles.
correctly, yeah, the replay. I think the replay resolution itself is a bit higher, or I don't know what they do. It just looks way better than like when you're actually racing. So looks more realistic.
Yeah, I think for the like the older PlayStations, it it renders the game at 720. But let's look at
Hmm.
the start from
Out of the
Tegi's
race. Yeah.
perspective. Um, Not much of a gap between the grid slots, right? So look at Dan Lord and the
Bosch
kind of
is.
start that he gets. He's already
Yeah.
in second place. chasing down Tegi, but these Supras and the Porsches, they'll start gathering pace as the track goes
Uh,
on. It's just
the
the
Porsche is
start
anyway
of the
bad on
race, yeah.
starts.
Yeah, it's just
So
the start of the race where the Mercedes and the I think the Mercedes has a terrific advantage in race starts. Something that I've used
yeah,
to my advantage a lot of times.
I think even the Corvette, right? So even that has a very good start, but I don't think anyone has one with the Corvette. So like when I was racing with these guys yesterday, it had a very good start.
Yeah, so, but even yeah, so Corvette, AMG, these cars have some good starts. Supra is very very slow to
Supra is
start.
very slow. It
Yeah,
bogs down a lot.
yeah, but then it gathers pace. That's the problem with the Supra. Like it has a lot of pace, but with standing starts, you just lose out on so
You lose
much.
out exactly.
So
Let me just rejoin the spectator mode. Looks like I cannot go on board. So
okay,
okay, yeah, now it's better.
so we're
So
looking
looks
at
like
Fiercely in the Supra, and he's still there. He's still in the slipstream. Let's see if these guys are actually saving fuel or not. So I'm gonna be able to
yeah, so
judge by their.
PSB is on the mediums, so I think he's going for a different strategy.
So do you
Although
think
I
that no
think
stop is a viable strategy here?
based on our race last time, I don't think so
Okay.
because you have to fuel save a lot, and I especially on a track like this, right, where you might lose out a lot on the straights. I don't really think it would be good to fuel save too much, and I think just short shifting should be more than sufficient to, and with a one stopper.
Yeah, one stopper is definitely a good strategy. Like no stop
Yeah,
is going to be very very slow because I don't think there's enough of a pit loss to justify that.
exactly.
And yeah, even the
Plus,
tires at the end are brutal.
yeah, I think here certain corners you can maybe save the condition of your tires, especially like on being on board with Tegi's one, the corners that he's entering right now. These are some corners which you can like save on tires a lot by braking a bit early and having smooth lines throughout. It won't really kill your pace, and at
Right.
the same time you still get to save your tires.
Yeah, that makes sense. Okay, so I'm not able to go on board like you, so I'm just gonna exit
Yeah, I think you
spectator
just have to
mode and
exit and come back.
just yeah. Okay, so Super Vedu has gone back up to second position. He's 3 seconds behind Tegi. So
Yeah,
Tegi, I think, is
Tegi, he
driving
is
the wheels off of this Lexus.
exactly like he seems to be pretty comfortable with this Lexus.
Sheikh says Corvette and AMG both are in the top for 0 to 60 and the McLaren F1. Yeah, McLaren F1, obviously. The problem with McLaren is that
It's a bit
it's
poor on corners.
yeah, the braking performance of that car is so bad. Like if somebody is braking at 100 meters, you have to brake
Yeah,
at
it
least
does. It's
120.
quite.
Because
Yeah, it's quite. Plus, it carries a bit more speed and with bad braking, so you'll have to
yeah, you have to
like manage your corners.
exactly. So okay, so Tegi I think has either made a mistake. No, yeah, it's stabilized at about 3.2 seconds between Tegi and Super
Yeah,
Vedu.
I think they both have now probably maintained the same, unless one of them does a mistake.
Right, and Super
There are a
Vedu
few
is short
corners
shifting.
like yeah.
He's trying. Yeah, tell me about the corners.
Uh, there are a few corners over here which are, a bit risky, but equally rewarding. I think it's the last couple of corners where you take where it's just before the long right hander basically. So if you take the risk and go a bit wide, you do get a better exit, and that helps a lot when you enter the straights. But at the same time, it's a bit risky because the grass patch is like right there, and there are no curbs, so you can easily go wide and just that almost happened to me last time. I think on lap one, I almost spun out.
So you're talking about the last corner just before the straight section in the oval, right?
Yeah. Just
So I
before
think
the
the
long right-hander into the straight.
yeah, so I think the issue with that corner as well is that because you're that like there's some camber in the oval, and then it comes down to
Hmm.
like a flat surface. It unsettles the car quite a lot if you
Exactly.
take it at a
Yeah.
higher speed.
Even the point where MP Tegison is right now, which he just passed. So even
Yeah,
that is equally risky. Like you have to go wide there, but you'll have to maintain not going after the grass because it's like a very fine line between the grass and the track, which
yeah,
rewards you equally if you stay on it. So yeah,
exactly. And also the corners on this track are it's very surprising because you can cut like a huge portion of these some of these corners, especially the faster corners. You
I
can
think
like take it as tight to the wall as you can. Like you can basically gut the corner. Even this one, the first one,
T2 especially, I think. Yeah.
yeah, this one you can just cut the corner as much as you want. So I'll just go on board Super Vedu and we'll talk about these. So this one is like a very slow corner. So you have to be
Slow corner, a wide
yeah,
entry, and
very
yeah,
wide entry exactly. So if you try to slow down early, you just lose time because the car is not going anywhere.
especially
You cannot have a fast exit.
I know,
This
and
corner
especially
is
with
super
something like
fast and you can cut
GTR,
it
it's
as
going to be
much as you
careful.
want.
Yeah.
Yeah. This corner and
This
this
point,
upcoming as well,
exactly.
yeah. But so if you're able to carry some speed over here and then you drop down, it just unsettles. Look at how it unsettles the car, right? And
Yeah, I think on some cars it's quite bad. Uh, you end up understeering a lot and you go wide.
yeah, like on the AMG, it was super bad when I was trying it yesterday.
Ah, okay.
It just unsettles and and you understeer, and especially when there's tire wear on the left hand side, it just drags you wide as your tires are wearing out. So
And just looking at, I think I'm just looking at Crispy Bacon, and he has managed to save a lot of fuel. But I think USB as well has saved a lot.
the PSP is in the Supra, which is, I mean, it's quite good on fuel. You cannot deny. It's just that it's a difficult car to drive, especially when the tire starts to wear out. The car
Yeah.
just wants to get away from you.
Plus, you can short shift, and it doesn't lose a lot of power, similar to the Corvette. So you can
Yeah.
short shift, fuel save, and still maintain a good pace.
So look, Fiersby does this right. He goes wide, takes a wider entry, cuts the corner as much as he can. And even
Yeah.
on this one, see, the Supra doesn't get that unstable on this one. Like when we looked at the other cars which tend to understeer quite a lot, like the GTR.
Yeah.
So
I think the GTR
Fiersby
does
has go on.
understeer. Yeah. I think the GTR does understeer a lot.
Yeah, you have to be like super aggressive on your brake balance to make sure that you get it to turn. But I'm excited to see the RCZ because on some tracks this car is a monster. It is super stable, but
It is. I think the downside of the RCZ is probably just its straight line speed, because it's actually an all-round very good car. It handles well. It has good fuel saving, and I think the only downside is probably the straight line speed.
so this is something that I just noticed on Tegi's onboard as well. So what he's doing is he's braking just a little bit uh, just before entering the last corner, so as to not understeer and unsettle the car. And as soon as he gets onto
Okay.
that flat piece of track, he starts to accelerate again. I think that can be a good strategy for people who want to take it at a reasonable speed. Just make sure that they don't
Mhm.
understeer all the time, or worse, they just crash out crash out of it. So
Yeah,
the gap between Tegi and Vedu is still at
it's
3.2
same,
seconds.
exact same, pretty much.
So,
They're at the same pace.
but looks like
But
Vedu has just that little bit extra fuel,
more fuel.
but the
Right.
tire wear is almost the same.
I think even I think on the right, the front right tires are a bit worn out on Tegis. So I think Vedu is taking it a bit cautiously. Maybe he wants to save a bit more tire, especially being on the GTR, right? It's better to save tire on this
Yeah,
because
because you can
any corner it can
save
just you out
exactly. You can take it a little bit slow in the corners, and you can make up that time in the straight.
in the straights.
So it's kind of like the brainstorming session upon brainstorming session happening in their minds as they're driving, taking lines, taking different lines, using different strategies, and they also think because they have to think about a lot of things, right? Uh, when you race or I race, obviously, and we're almost
Definitely,
the same like
yeah.
everybody else, right? So we're looking at the gap to the guy in front of us. We're looking at our fuel. We're looking at our
Fuel,
tires.
especially it gets very intense when you are in the back of like a few cars, and let's say you have like few more laps remaining, and you have to look out for your tires, your fuel saving, and the guy is in front and behind you. So in situations like that, it gets quite intense
Exactly,
to
and
keep track of everything that is going on.
exactly, and because there's so many different. The way the GT Sport is set up, it does not actually show you the strategy that the other driver has taken, which I think is fair game,
It
right?
is, yeah.
So you have
I mean,
to have your like you are in the dark a certain bit, but that gives it more excitement because you can't really predict. I mean, as spectators, yes, we can look at what tires they're on or what fuel mixture they're on, but obviously we cannot look into their brains and see what they're actually thinking about.
exactly. Now, sometimes players go with you know predicted strategies, and sometimes people just decide, okay, I'm not going to go with this and try something different. So it always, it's always a trial and error thing, especially on a track which we haven't driven a lot. I think even in our community, we haven't driven this variation of the track a lot. So it's good to see what everyone is doing.
Okay, so Santosh says good coverage, audio level of the commentary can be a bit more. We can try that, Santosh. We don't mind. Um, but obviously, it's personal preference, so maybe we can keep it at a higher level, and people who don't really side with it can just lower the volume a little bit. That's a better middle ground, I think. So let us know, Santosh, how it is right now. I just changed the audio settings just a little bit. Okay, so Pleb, talking about the upcoming tracks, right? So we have this track. Obviously, I think we did a couple of races on the like the original layout on this track, the A1, not the A2, and
Okay.
Tegi was super quick in those, like
He has
really,
actually
really
improved on a
quick.
lot
Yeah,
of tracks. Yeah,
yeah,
even on the
exactly.
MRL races, he's showing really good pace.
I still remember like when we started, like back in 20, when was it? 2019, right?
2019, I think.
Right.
Was it? Yeah,
Yeah,
I
it
think it
was
was 2019.
2019. Yeah. I don't think the gap between everyone was this tight. Now, what you're seeing right now on the screen to everyone who's watching is kind of like a mixture between, Group A and Group B. So, Chris is or Dwayne is in Group B. Fierce P is in Group B as well. Pagal Raja is in Group A. Super Vedu is in Group A, and Tegiswan is in Group A as well. So look at the gap between these guys. Obviously, Tegi is flying, so that's a cause for worry for all the other drivers. But and he's doing that on a
I,
Lexus, so I think that will worry other people a little bit more.
I
And
think,
so
yeah,
so between these three guys, Tegiswan, Supervedu, and Pagal Raja, the gap is like 5.8 seconds after 13 laps of running, which is good. And I think when the actual group comes in with your Shaz and MJ and a couple of other guys, and I think the contest going to be a little bit more tighter as well. What do you think?
I think now Tiggy has pulled out 4 seconds. So not sure if Edu did a mistake anywhere or.
Okay, so Vedu
Maybe
has
the
these
tires.
guys are just fitting. Tegi is at 30% fuel wear. I mean fuel
Vedu
remaining.
is at 40.
Vedu is at
Yeah,
41, and Pagal Raja on the Porsche surprisingly is on 27
I think it
only.
would be. I think when they come out, probably Vedu might be ahead of Peggy's one. Let's see.
Um,
Yeah,
I,
he is
he is.
just by a very small margin. Yes, he is.
Wow, so it's just
Maybe
like
half a second.
4 tenths. Yeah, almost half a second between those guys. I think Vedu has played his cards
I think all
properly.
the fuel saving, yeah, it definitely worked out.
Yes, it's definitely worked out, and because now I think they're going to be on the same amount of fuel, but just look at the race info and be double sure. So Tegi's at about 75%. Vedu is a little bit lesser, so I think he plans to fuel save a little bit more as well. So I don't think it's that straightforward, at least at this stage.
I think if Vedu plays his cards right, he can just maintain this lead with the GTR because even with this slipstream, I don't see the Lexus overtaking the GTR on T1 or T2. So, while I say that, looks like he is overtaking the GTR. Maybe he had a
Yes, he
good
is.
exit.
Yeah,
So,
no, I
as you
think
see,
Vedu is definitely he's gonna have to fuel save because he has underfueled a little bit. And what Tegi has done is fueled in just a little bit more. I think that's the reason he got overtaken because he's filled up just a little bit more. But that gives him the license to just go for it without having to save any fuel. So no short shifting, nothing like that. I'm looking at okay, let's see.
but okay, because if I remember correctly for this race, right, I think the fuel that Vedu has is enough to push for the race. And I mean, it's 12 more minutes, and he
See,
has half tank.
that's the thing with GT Sport as well, because if you're fuel saving and you go into the pits, uh, what GT shows in terms of how
Yeah,
many
it
laps you
is
need is based on your
based on your
fuel performance.
yeah, exactly your
So
previous fuel performance.
yeah, so a little
Sometimes
tip
that confuses a lot of people.
that confused a lot of people. I remember in the Penta thing, RKV did the same thing. And I specifically
Okay,
remember because before the race, I had a chat with him. I told him because he did not practice on anything. So I told him that, see,
okay,
the game will tell you that 15 laps or whatever laps of fuel is enough, but don't listen to the game. Fill up to 100%,
exactly.
right? And
And in my case, I have always overfueled because I always fail at doing the math for how many laps are remaining. And since in endurance races, right, it doesn't really like if you notice in the fuel refilling the bar, there is no indicator as to show how much more you
when
need to
it
refill.
ends,
So
exactly,
yeah,
exactly.
you'll have to calculate that, and I always mess that up, and I overfuel, and then I end up being behind a few people whom I should have been ahead of. So
I'm just
it's you have
gonna
to.
read out a couple of comments here as well. So, Wildest Monk, yes, we understand. We just changed the volume, so hope it's better. Dan Lord says Jag is nice off the line, then just dot dot dot. So I can only imagine then it's just dad, which which makes sense. Santosh says he's got to go for work. Good luck, Santosh. Have a nice day. And Dan says AMG was bad at Brands Hatch. It depends. It wasn't that bad. Like the AMG
I think
understeers,
AMG.
right? So
I
if you're
think
able to
AMG is like yeah.
overcome that, like if you had like like +2, +3 brake bias, you can get it to turn. And with a little bit of aggressive downshifting as well, because if you're in second gear and you downshift to first on the AMG, it just like locks the rear wheel and helps you turn sometimes. So it's a tricky car to drive, but I like it because that's like the first car that I drove on Gran Turismo, and I think I've clocked like I don't know, close to like 13, 15,000 kilometers on that car.
Oh, is it? That's a lot.
Yeah,
Okay.
I used to drive the
I feel
AMG quite a lot.
I think looking at the race, they have caught up to Crispy Bacon, is it? Oh no, it's PSP. Oh, I think he hasn't picked it yet. Yeah, yeah, he
Yeah,
hasn't
so
picked yet.
PSP has gone for a no stop,
Oh, I thought it was
but I
Crispy
don't think.
Bacon was being left, but no.
I think this is going to be interesting to watch because PSP is obviously trying a no stop, but will it work?
But I don't
Well,
think
I
the
don't think.
fuel is enough.
Yeah, exactly. Because
Yeah,
I don't think he'll be able to hold Pagal Raja. The best he can do is just finish in front of Crispy Bacon, which is quite a nice name,
yeah, I think which is
actually.
yeah. Uh, that kind of has kept Vedu and Peggy's at the same pace, so he's still within the slipstream range. If he can get a good exit out of here, the GTR has enough top end to catch up.
Yes, I think
But
Vedu, what Vedu is trying to do is if he has to save fuel, he's better off saving fuel in the slipstream, right? So at least he won't lose too much
exactly,
speed. So yeah, Fiersby goes into the pit. So he
he's
did a
going to the pit.
very long first
So
stint.
I don't, yeah, I don't. I mean, it unless everyone had to change tires mandatorily, this would have been fine. But I think racing soft would have been the better choice to go within both stints.
Dan Lord says these guys are gonna mop the floor with me. If you play your cards right, not necessarily. What I would suggest is practice as much as you can. Like once you get into the rhythm on any track with any car, all you have to do is be consistent. People are going to make mistakes. Remember that. Not
Yeah, I
everybody
think
is mistake free.
more than outright speed, right? I think consistency is more important,
Yeah,
so that you can take advantage of other people's mistakes, or you can put more pressure on someone else and make them do a mistake.
exactly. So that's the thing, Dan Lord, if you're listening, which I think you are. And as Pleb said, it's in these endurance races. Obviously, pace is there, but you have to be consistent. Ankur, the wildest monk, he says, Mr. Consistent reporting. I think we'll decide on that tag, Ankur, when the races actually start to see who is the Mr. Consistent in the league. Right now, I think your crown can easily be taken by Tegi because he's super consistent in that Lexus. He's driving the wheels off of that Lexus and still keeping it between the white lines.
I think every time I've noticed Peggy, he's usually on the GTR. So I think he wants to try something else this time with the Lexus, and he's doing really well actually with the GTR 200.
Yeah, the thing is, the GTR is such a tough car to drive that if you can actually like master the GTR, then it gets easier to drive other FR cars as well, like front engine, rear wheel drive cars.
Mm-hmm. But
Okay,
I think
let's. I'm looking at Vedu's onboard, and Tegi is just trying to break the toe. Vedu is about
break the toe.
4 tenths behind when he's gaining because
But,
of the pace of
but I think
the
at this
GTR.
point, yeah, it doesn't really matter at this point because slipstream or no slipstream, the GTR is going to close the gap.
Yeah, so I think what Vedu is trying to do here, because I saw him, he just lifted off before turn one. He's just trying to stay in the slipstream, save some fuel, and I think he's
Mm-hmm.
going to go for it towards the last
The
two,
last two
three
laps, I
laps.
guess.
I think, Dan Lord, if you're watching, this is like a perfect example. Just stay patient. If you want to overtake someone, the more you stay behind them, the more you can get them to make mistakes. The more they look in, their rear view mirror and anticipate what you're going to do next. And sometimes it helps to take alternate lines as well. I've tried that on a lot of drivers who fall for it. Like whenever a corner is coming up, I just drive towards the inside line just a little bit. That scares them, thinking, okay, this guy's gonna go for the dive. But then
It's
I
going to
just
come
brake
in.
at my
Yeah.
yeah, brake at my normal place. And because those guys are expecting somebody to dive, they just overshoot their braking point and makes it easier.
Sometimes during the daily races, I think that is what is going to happen, that they would come back. But no, some people do dive in. So I end up losing positions that way. I usually expect them to, I usually think, okay, they're going to, oh, I think we are
Okay,
seeing a move here.
Super
Why
Vedu
is it?
is super
No,
close,
I think it could
but
have gone, made it.
Yeah, I think
to
Superweight
just
is just
replicate that.
trying to be as patient as he can. So while these two guys are fighting out, let's look at what's happening with Fierceby. So he's about 9.8 seconds behind Crispy Bacon on a set of
But if you,
medium tires. Which I don't think
he
he
has not,
changed tires.
yeah, he has not changed that. So I think he's just testing out
Yeah, I think
uh,
he's just testing out a
what
different
the result
strategy at
would
this
be.
stage.
Yeah,
Pagal Raja is on the soft tires. I think he's wearing out his tires. The problem with Porsche is that because there's no top end speed, you need to have slipstream to gain consistent speed onto the track. But what these
but
two guys are doing is Tegi and Supervedu. I think they're starting to fight because Tegi is trying to break the toe and Supervedu is trying to just stay
yeah,
behind him. So they're losing a little bit
I
of
think
time
Vedu has
to Pagal
to,
as well.
he has to get close. He's almost losing the slip. As we know, like if you're a bit more than 7 tenths, then you lose the slip. So I think he needs to push a bit. Maybe he can make that up on the straight if he can maintain the same pace behind Tegi.
Ankur says the comps are haters. Yes, we are. That's our job. We hate on everyone. Only until somebody like shows us that they're worth loving, which we do. Because that's the point. When a commentator starts loving someone, bad things start to happen to that person.
That's happening.
So
Yeah,
yeah,
the
as a general
commentators.
rule of thumb, we hate you
Because
with all of our might. Because when we start loving you, you'll start making mistakes on track.
it looks like Vedu has caught up pretty much. There's just 3 more minutes remaining, so I think we're going to have probably 2 more laps. Yeah, 2 more laps.
Yeah, I think two more laps of racing remaining. Vedu is gonna go into the grass and he'll burn
Eh,
his tires, and
I think
that's
this is exactly the commentators. Because I think
this is
just as we
exactly what
speak
we were
about
talking
Vedu,
about.
he
Just when
himself
we thought that
makes
Vedu
mistakes.
is going to do something nice, is this is what
Yeah, and
happens
this
to him,
happens.
Ankur. So be grateful that we hate you, so
That
that you
we
can
don't talk
perform
much
well.
about someone.
So look at this. Pagal Raja has caught up
Is
to
now,
Vedu. But the
but
problem is that GTR has such great straight line speed that
might be too late as well. Yeah,
yeah, it's just too late to take that 2.3 second gap. So Tegi is out in the clear until and unless he makes a huge mistake. I think he's winning this, and Vedu is starting to like drift and understeer wide into that last corner as well. So his tires are gonna give up on him very very soon.
so I think if Vedu had not made the mistake, he would have had a good chance at taking P1
Yeah, on the next
if he
lap.
had timed the exit.
Yeah, exactly. If he braked just a little bit earlier, he could have easily taken Tegi in the next lap. But as things stands, 2.7 seconds behind Tegi and Vedu. So I don't think that gap is coming down, and it's actually going up. And
Mm.
2.2
I think
seconds
one,
between. Yeah, go ahead.
usually, like if a driver makes a mistake, like at least this is what it is for me. So if I make a mistake when we're really close to the finish of the race and I lose the chance of getting the podium or any position that I wanted, I think it kind of demotivates you, and you're like, okay, fine, no, this is just no more time remaining, so let's just complete the race, right?
Yeah.
So we might it might affect our pace, and we might make more mistakes. This usually happens in my case, so I'm not sure if that is how it is for others.
Yeah, so it's more of a mentality thing, right? So it depends on what you
Yeah,
want from that race, because this is not the final, right? Right
exactly.
now this is just a practice session, but obviously when this race happens this Saturday and Sunday,
Hmm.
the drivers will have to keep it in their mind that it's just one of six. There's still plenty of opportunities. Like if you're 3 seconds behind someone and you start to push to try to gain on 2 laps, you're obviously going to
Hmm.
make a mistake. You make a mistake, people are
Exactly.
going to overtake you. So it's more about being consistent and getting more points as much as you can. Because for people who are watching, this is how the tournament is actually going to. We're going to talk about this in the first race as well. So we're going to have 6 races in the group stages. They get points for every race, and at the end of the group stage, the top 7 from each group move on to the finals. The finals are still undecided, just a little bit, as Tegison and Supervedu. Tegis one just wins by comfortable
He's
margin.
very
I think
comfortable
he,
with the look.
yeah,
Yeah.
super consistent. Still has fuel remaining. Supervedu doesn't have much. Same goes for Pagal
I
Raja or
think
Mehul.
they refueled pretty accurately
Yeah.
this
So I was
year.
talking about the finals and everything. That's where the prize money and everything comes in. But the whole intention of this tournament is to get people to race. When you race with people that you start to learn a little bit more about them. Like Pleb and I have raced so much. I know how he's going to drive. I know he's not going to push me out wide. And it goes the same with, let's say me and Shaz or me and Vedu and other people. And so you already know how that other driver, technically behaves or what he does and all of that.
Mhm. Yeah.
So yeah, I think the whole point of this is to or not just learn about the other guys, but also to do some of your own soul searching. Increase your skill level as well. And it's very important that you have a set schedule of races that you can take part, practice, get more comfortable in. What are your thoughts, Pleb?
I think, yeah, I think if you really want to improve your pace, right, I think the first step would be to first learn the track, get comfortable with the track, and then choose a car which suits your pace, right? And then just try to be very consistent. Like if you are trying to compare yourself to someone, it can be anyone, a B-rated driver, A plus, whatever, whoever it is. So I think the best thing to do would be watch their races and learn how they drive, and see if you can change something from your line. And consistency, yeah, just try to maintain that consistency without doing any mistakes, as well as having a good pace. Doesn't mean just being consistent. You have to have a low pace. No, you'll have a good pace and being consistent. I think that will definitely be the key if you really want to improve, especially in games like this.
Makes perfect sense. So yeah, everybody who's listening, everybody who's preparing for the races that start this weekend, heed those words. Be consistent. Learn from your mistakes,
Yes,
and that's
and
how.
remember the race isn't won on the first lap, so
Yeah,
easy.
I think that's going to be reminded to everyone almost
Yeah,
every race.
it's
So,
a
yeah.
30-minute race, so a lot of chance and opportunities apart from the first lap. So
You,
yeah, best of
you
luck,
cannot
everyone.
win it. Yeah, you cannot win it on the first lap, but you can definitely lose it on the first lap very easily.
I think what you can do on the first lap is maybe get a solid position that you want and just stick to it. If you are in the podium, maybe you can get a P1 or something in the first lap. If you can, fine, just stick to it. But I think trying to battle it out very intensely uh, is not really worth it.
Perfect sense. And I think on that note, we can just end today's stream. I think it went well. We had a couple of glitches in
Yeah,
the beginning, but we were able to sort that out. So
sorted now.
yeah, I'm excited for this partnership. I'm excited to see all of the races as well. To everyone watching, we'll see you guys on Saturday. All of the streams will be scheduled, so you'll be able to set reminders for it, and then we just go live, and you can just enjoy the races. Thank you so much. Good night, everyone. Good night, Pleb.
Yes, thanks everyone for joining. Yep, and all the
Bye
best
bye.
for the entire series.